Hi everyone. Just thought I'd. Well, it's Friday, and if you saw the tag on the stream, then you'll know that Friday is the day I normally do a question of the week. Haven't done one in quite a while, but I figured, hey, what the heck, I will do one today, and hey, I may as well stream while I'm looking at it, and then I've got a recording. We can put this on YouTube, and it'll be there as more of a visual demo. So I went through all the questions on the community this week, and I found three that I thought would be interesting to just to look at. Maybe a couple of them we'll solve. One of them we'll just take a look at that. The one I wanted to look at first was downloading multiple images from a URL saved in a shapefile, and basically this does have an answer, which is pretty much the correct answer, I think. But I just thought I'd like to show the whole process. I think this is an interesting question, and I happen to have a data set that worked the same way, so I thought, hey, let's show that and show how it works. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I've got is I've got this folder full of TIFF files, as in the question, and I have a catalog of those files listed in a regular vector data set. So we can see here that, let's see the attributes. It's got the name of the file. So it's got data, author, photos, blah, 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 and so on. So what I'm going to do is because the user was downloading them using HTTP caller, I thought, hey, well, I better to do the same. I should send them up to an FME server, and then I can download them using the HTTP caller. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a test folder. I'm just going to call it mark test and hope there isn't one already. Oh, well, there we go, mark test. Okay, so obviously I want to upload all of those files, which were, if I can find it, data, author, photos. So these are all the files I want, and I don't want the catalog files, obviously. So really this is just prep for what we're going to do in this workspace. And I've got a workspace already that's reading the catalog, and I just picked out a single feature to test for that. So we've got the name of the file and the full path. Well, it's going up into a different path on the server. Now, the thing I'm not totally sure about is how we find resources on the server and get a URL for them. So that's what I'm wondering about. Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to use the image fetcher as well. Just this person's using the HTTP caller, so I thought, hey, I'll try and use the same. And they've got the feature reader as well. And yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of ways of doing it. Since I've got it on a resource folder, I could use the FME server resource connector. That would probably work just as well. But I'm trying to just do what the user did. And in fact, that might not be a bad idea to keep that. How are we doing? Halfway. Okay, well, we're there shortly. Yeah, I'm wondering if it might be useful to keep that, because I'm really not sure about what the URL is when I'm trying to find something on server. So let me open up another instance of that so I can just browse and see if I can find any other file. Because I think I might have to figure out the path a different way. Like there's this one. Like, see, I know I can find the properties of that, but that's not really the HTTP. So again, this is all above and beyond what's going on in the question. The question just assumes that we've already got HTTP files already there. So this is sort of prepping to get to that point, I guess. So did we finish that? Uploading 33. Getting close. So yeah, if that's not what I want, then I'm sure it must be something to do with the API to call them. And let's see, I'm sure there's a way of, yeah, resources. So resource connection, download file. Okay, so that's a post and that's a get. I would think a get would be the one. So that would normally be resource connections, resource, file sys. So what would the resource be? What I'm wondering is if, is that finished? Yeah, we're done. Okay, so if I want to download this file, okay, see, this is why I think this could become useful, because if I can come here and hopefully it will tell me what's the object ID. Let's see what it says for object ID. Request. Download. Assert the path. If valid credentials, you may browse to a location. Okay, well, I should be able to do that then. I should be able to browse to a location. Ah, there we go. Data, what did I call it? Mark test. Ah, there we go. So I can pick that. And I'm hoping it will tell me, yeah, it doesn't have the HTTP part on there. So maybe I'm going to have to run that. And maybe it'll tell me in the log what the HTTP is. So it worked. That's something. HTTP in the log. Okay. Not there. That's interesting. So how do we know? Resort file sys. Oh, okay. So maybe that. If I go back to the API part, maybe that's this bit. So hang on. If I, okay, let me copy that. I'll put it in the text editor. And then the other bit was from here. Put that in there. Resources. Oh, connections. Okay, there's file sys. So maybe. Maybe. That bit just goes there, which is what I'm hoping. Yeah, that's. Let me server parameter. Yeah. I guess I could do that. I'm just wondering if that would work. Like, is this. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Fine, Windows Photo Viewer. There we go. It's a blank file. It might just be that that's a, yeah, there's definitely something there because it's probably just one of those tiles that's not got much in it. Okay, so that's good. So I know that that is the path to get one of them. So if I read that list from here. Okay. Oops. Oh, I want the Attribute manager. So I think this is where the problem was in the question online. The problem was that they were downloading the file and it puts it in the temp directory. They want to name the files according to the attribute in the shapefile, but then all the files get automatically deleted. I think that's because they get saved into the temp folder. If you specify the whole folder to write them to. So what am I doing here? I'm trying to think. File to download. So open the text editor, put this in, and instead of it being that, it would be the name. And hopefully that will work. So if I stick a HTTP caller in there, is it going to do that? There we go. I should probably zoom in a bit because maybe on the screen it's a bit hard to see that. Request URL will be the file to download. There'll be a get. And I wonder if I need to use authentication. I probably do, but let's run it first and see what happens. Rejected. FME service URL and resources available via FME service specific parameters. Yeah. That's what I'm wondering if... But I don't want to run it on server. I want to run it on here, so I need to... I can't use this unless I set one of them anyway. So it's okay. What error have we got? Oh, 401. There we go. So that's a permission thing, I think. 404 would be a problem. So I do need to use authentication. So if I give it my server, I'm trying to remember what it is. Passwords get longer and more complicated every week, I think. Let's give that a shot. Ah, there we go. And it put it into, so file to download, that's the one. And it put it into a response body rather than putting it to a file. I guess at this point, there's two ways of doing it. We could put a attribute file writer, or we could just say here, write it to a file, output file name. As long as I put this somewhere that's not really important. Let's see, I'll put it back in the FME data folder in output. And we'll create a new folder for, web tiles. Just call it that. Oh, it's looking for a file name. Okay. So I guess I need to copy that. Open the text editor, put that in, /name.tiff. There we go, that should do it. So if I have this open, it should be in the output folder. Oops, not data, output. Web tiles. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that seems to... but yes, you're right. If I did run it on the server itself, I could have put just put the publish parameter from the FME server shared resource data or whatever in there in the header. But since I'm running it locally, I mean, I could publish it to server and do that, but then I'd have to download the results somehow, I guess. Okay, well, if that worked, let's see if it works for all of them. Which it should. I think I've got debug turned on and log debug. Where are we? Translation. Yeah, I should turn that off. I don't really need it that often. And I don't need those two transformers. So what do we got? We're on 25. Fail to decrypt data. Need more data. Okay, well, is that doing something? It seems to be working. There should be 37 files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 rows of 12 is 36, 37. There we go. Perfect. So that's the answer to that question, really. And I think it's as Neil said. If you want to write the file out, make sure it's put into a proper folder, not a temporary folder, and then you can give it a proper name, and they shouldn't be deleted after FME's finished. I think your files are being deleted because it's only being written to a temporary directory, and that's why they get cleared up after being run. So yeah, that workspace should do that. There we go. The other one I noticed was, the other question I noticed was a bulk renaming of files. And I thought, I can do this within the same solution. So you want to add a prefix. Well, actually, it'd be a different solution. But and I really like what the user did. It's just that they didn't quite connect things up in the right way, as ebgom mentioned at the bottom. ebygom, maybe I should say. So I thought, hey, I'll demo this as well, because I think, again, this is another interesting sort of use case that folk might not think of, but it really is quite a useful one. Adding a prefix to all files within a directory. So let's just add a prefix to all the files that we just wrote. So they got this right. Really, most of it was right. Directory and file path names. So let's see, where did we write that to? It was FME data, output web tiles. And we should look in the parameters and just say star.tiff, just to get all the tiff and nothing else. Not that I think there are anything else in there anyway, but retrieve file properties. I don't think we really need that, but I'll do it anyway because just in case. I think that's like the file size and things like that. You should get the name of the file anyway. So if we run that, we should find, let's see, what have we got? So yeah, the root name, the file name, the full path for Windows. I think we probably want the full path for Windows. So what did the user do there? Okay, so they used the attribute manager to change the file properties, and I don't think they needed to change it so much as add a new name. So they added a file copywriter as well. And I'm just going to click OK because I don't even know it needs an output folder because we're going to specify that. So what we're going to specify is, and you can see that here, the things it's looking for are the source and the destination, basically. File copy, destination, dataset, and file name. I'm not quite sure the difference between those two. I wonder if it tells us in the help. That wasn't particularly helpful. Okay, readers and writers, file copy. Format writer parameters up in the right hand side, that's what we're looking for. Oh, actually, no, it's format attributes, isn't it? Dest dataset and dest file name. Oh, okay, dest dataset is the folder. If this value is not specified, the destination dataset will be the destination for all copy or move operations. Okay, so that's easy enough. The path windows is the source dataset. And I think maybe we can, probably I should replace that with an attribute manager because I want one anyway. So let's create, and this is where the user went wrong. On this, they just edited the original path file name to add their prefix. But what they needed to do was create it in a new attribute completely. So let's have a try at that. So we want to create, I think we're going to create FileCopy dest file name. What is it? Is it going to be file name or root name? I can't remember. There's so many on here, and one of them's without the extension, one of them's with it. So let's go path file name. Oh, but we want to put a prefix on there, so say 2022. Sorry, path file name. Yep, that's got the extension on. So hopefully that would do it. And I guess we get the option to say whether we're overwriting or copying. Maybe we don't. Maybe it always just copies. Well, hey, let's hit the run button and see what happens. So if I write it to the same folder, we should find the same items. With a prefix, and we're not. Okay. So what have I done wrong? I've obviously done something wrong. Error attempting to copy from. Okay, so it's not put a prefix on there. Oh, I put it in the wrong line, that's why. That would not help. Let's run that again. There's always something. Okay, only 7 warnings this time, it says. Okay, there we go. So now we've got all of the original files and all of the prefix files in the same folder. So yeah, basically the problem that the user was facing there was just the fact that they didn't realize that the new file name had to be a separate string and not just renaming the original one. And now I think about it, that really would be a logical thing to do. And maybe we should look at doing this with FME. I could file an enhancement request and say, like, could we make these names the same as the output names? Or maybe we could add these onto here. Add the, maybe we should take these attributes, file, copy, source, and destination, and add them to what gets read from the file directory reader, and that way it will be more obvious where they're supposed to go and why. So, and then directory attribute open. Yes, that's true. It's very difficult sometimes to remember which ones are which. Like root name, does it have the extension or is it file name? But yeah, it's very interesting. They're all the same file size. I would not have thought that, but the modified date, yeah, everything. I mean, you get quite a lot of information with this. It really is quite a good one. The other interesting one that we could look at is as a temp path name creator. So if you wanted to write it to a temporary folder, but again, that's only a temporary one that gets deleted upon completion, so maybe scrub that. But the other one is the file name part extractor, which is really cool. It sort of does what this does, but it splits things up into component parts. So if you say, let's take the path windows, I can split it up into those components now. So even if you didn't have the full thing, you only had the path name, which is pretty much what we had here. we had the author catalog, which just had the image file. If I wanted for some reason to break that up, I could use the file name part extractor. And I really love this transformer. It's one of those things you think you'll have to do it manually, and then you're sitting there using string, like little bits of string extractor and substring extractor, and it's driving you crazy when in fact this transformer will just do it straight for you. It's just like as easy as that, like the extension, the path, the directory, the root name, and so on. So that really is easy to do. The other one that we can do similar with is the date time exploder, which is something I created. It does the same thing, but instead of a path, it works on a date, and it splits a date up into hours, minutes, and seconds separately, just so you don't have to start messing about with substring extractors and the like. So yeah, that was those two questions. I guess the third question I wanted to quickly look at was this one about changing the encoding on HTML files, which, I mean, it's an obvious question, but the bit I wanted to highlight was if you have tags identifying encoding inside the HTML, you'll need to change that as well, because FME is not going to do that. So if I can find a HTML file somewhere, or even any XML file should do. Because this one, I've seen this trick people before. Like there's an XML file. I can open it with Notepad. And let's see, does it say what the encoding is in there? I don't think it even says what the encoding is. I can't see any encoding set. But then it's not really a very good view of that. Let's see if we can open it with Firefox. Okay, so language English, no encoding in there that I can see. Okay, well then that sort of messes things up a little bit. I need something that's got encoding in, so why don't I just fire up another workbench and just demo this? Oh, actually, maybe I do know where there would be some data. In the Parks folder, because I'm forever writing that out to GML. Yeah, so that one's got UTF-8 encoding. So the point that the user was asking is, well, can I change the encoding in here from one to another? And yes, you can very easily by reading that data as a text file. So if I just say read it as a text file, you probably read the whole file all at once. And it's currently in UTF-8. And then I want to write it out again. I want to change it to say, let's say UTF-16 for want of a better thing. So I'm going to put it in the output folder. Oh, I need to give it a file name. Really? For a text? Oh, I guess I do. re-encoded.gml. So all I need to do is write it back as a text file using a different encoding, and that re-encodes it. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't change that. That doesn't change the tag inside it, which I know that catches some people out. So you think it's been re-encoded, and it has, and it's now UTF-16. But when you look at it in Notepad, it should tell us that it's UTF-16. So it knows it's got the right encoding. It's just the tag hasn't changed in there, and that's the problem that people sometimes don't realize that's going on. So, like you say, I'm looking in the comments now. All we need to do is a string replacer, and just change anywhere we find the text. let's see, what does it look like? Well, let's do it properly, I guess. So we just look for that text, and I assume we just say UTF-16 and that'll be fine. I don't know if we have to, like I'm looking in here and it's got UTF-16BE. No, I probably don't need to know that. Probably just UTF-16 would be fine. So yeah, we do that, we run that, and yeah, we reload, and there we go. We've got proper encoding now. So that was really, the answer was correct. It was just more a case of I wanted to demo exactly what Dave meant by that part, because if you don't do that, then your web browser reads it as one thing, but it's actually another encoding completely. So that's the one there. So yeah, it would be nice if FME could change the tags automatically. I guess if we, I mean, I was tempted to create a custom transformer, but even then you'd need to know what that was. I mean, if the text line writer was byte order mark. Yeah, if there was an option in there that said update XML tags, maybe that's something I can file an enhancement request for. Like they can look for what I did in there for the encoding, and just change it automatically. Yeah, it's a thought. It depends what they change it to, though, because I guess there's so many different encodings that it would be difficult to know what the XML is for all of them. But see, that might even be UTF-16BE that it should be. Like, should I have the BE in there as well? Anyway, I can file it. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything to ask. Whether the developers will do that or not, I don't know. But yeah, it would be nice to ask that. So yeah, really, that's all I wanted to demo today. Because I've been trying to do the question of the week for quite a while. Never got round to it because it's such a pain sometimes to have to write it all out. And I thought, well, hey, if I record it, then it makes it a lot easier for me to share. So yeah, so that's really all I wanted to show. Thanks everyone who's tuning in live. Thanks IT in the Netherlands. Great to have you on board today, asking questions. And thanks to anyone who's watching this as a video on YouTube and has made it to the end. I hope it was useful, and yeah, I'll hopefully be back online sometime next week. Okay, cheers folks.